Do you wake up every morning feeling drained, especially after a weekend? You feel like you were supposed to get sleep and rest, but you wake up and you feel like you didn't get any sleep the night before? Or how about this? Do you find yourself feeling like when you get out of work, instead of being excited to meet with your family or your friends, you just feel like you want to go somewhere and be alone? Does it just always feel like there's too much pressing in on you and you're just tired all the time? Well, in today's video, I'm going to help you to recognize what's happening and how it's draining you, and more importantly, how it's stealing your joy. And then we're going to talk about 2 strategies on how you can make sure that it never happens again going forward. In this video, I'm going to help you to figure out how you can move out of survival mode and move to the thriver life so that you can get more done in less time with less worrying and less work. Are you ready? Welcome to Thrive Nation. If you struggle with fatigue, know that you are not alone. I have so many clients who come to me with this same thing. There's this burnout feeling that they go to sleep and they can't turn their minds off. So then they wind up staying awake and not getting a lot of sleep. Or even if they get sleep, they're tossing and they're turning, or, they just never feel rested when they get finished. And then when they're going through their day, because of the anxiety of all the things that are going on, because they've got to think about taking care of stuff at home, taking care of stuff at work, everything is going spinning all the time. The chaos of life seems to just overwhelm them. So they wake up tired, they go to bed tired, and they feel like they're just a hamster on a wheel. Does this sound familiar? Well, one of the things that I want you to know is that there's so many people out there who are dealing with this exact same thing. You're not alone, right? I've had some clients who have dealt with this for years, 5, 10, 15 years. And, it's taking the kids to school and making sure they get to the doctor and then going to work and dealing with the people on your team. A lot of my clients are leaders. And so you deal with this problem where you got people knocking on your door and coming to you. And so often it's, just draining. And there's a feeling of, when is it ever going to end? And then you can't take a vacation, because a vacation, you need a vacation from the vacation, right? Does any of this sound familiar? Well, I want you to know that there's a solution. Once I showed my clients the very things that I'm going to talk to you about in this video, what we did is we helped them figure out these strategies so that they could be rejuvenated, so they could make sure that they were able to put themselves first, so that they could make sure that they were able to take care of themselves. And it actually meant that they were able to spend more time with their families. They were able to take care of their teams more, but they were able to do it from a place of abundance rather than from a place of scarcity. So those are the things that I want to talk to you about today. We're really going to get to the heart of what is fatigue and what are the strategies that you need to master so that you can overcome it. So the first thing we have to talk about is the fact that there are actually 3 types of fatigue. And this is what really most people mistake when they're thinking about they're tired, right? You see the title of this video. It's not that you're weak. So many of us think that we're weak, that we should be able to handle it, that we should be better. But the reason why is because we don't recognize how these 3 types of fatigue are working together to really just run our batteries really down. Those 3 types of fatigue are: number 1, physical fatigue. This is the fatigue of your body, right? This is the fatigue that happens especially for those of you all that work in in jobs where you're up on your feet a lot, where you're walking around the building a lot, where you're going. I remember, a lot of the factories and things that I worked in, where you got to walk back and forth, things like that. Physical fatigue can take its toll on you, but it's not the only type of fatigue, even though we generally feel the other types of fatigue also in our bodies. The second type of fatigue is emotional fatigue. This is the fatigue of the mind. This is the fatigue that happens when we're anxious, when we're depressed, when we're overwhelmed. All of that because what's going on is if you've ever got that feeling where you just can't shut your mind off, you know that fatigue doesn't allow your body to relax. It doesn't allow your mind to relax. And that fatigue can just make you feel just unable to move forward. It just feels like you're stuck and you just can't get any rest from that. And this is one of the type of fatigue that really stresses a lot of people out. And the third type of fatigue, which hugely influences our emotional fatigue or our mental fatigue, is what we call decision fatigue. Now, decision fatigue is the fatigue that we get in when we have to make decisions, which takes a lot of our brain capacity. It takes a lot of our brain power, because a lot of times we're taking decisions and we're making them, right, based off of the information that's coming at us, and we're trying to process it and make an appropriate decision. So we're using all of our brain instead of having it be in some simple heuristics, some simple systems that make it a little bit easier. Those three types of fatigue play, like I said, on each other. So you got decision fatigue, where you got decision after decision after decision that you got to make. And the more decisions that you have to make, then that plays into your emotional fatigue, because now you're thinking about, how does this decision affect the other decision, and all of these things and all the permutations that are going on in your head, right? And that's one of the big things. And then what that does is it makes it so that your mind can't go to sleep, so that your mind can't rest. And so it messes with your physical rest. Even when you're resting, you're not resting. I remember one of the things my wife used to tell me was, even when you're home, you're not really home. Your mind is still at work. You're still not present. And that's how all three of these kind of play into each other. So the first thing that we got to talk about is rest. Rest is one of the key strategies that so many of the people that are stuck in survival mode struggle with. So often we don't feel like we're worthy of rest. We feel like rest is for, the weak. And that's one of the big things that we've got to overcome. You got to understand it. If you're working hard, if you're doing all of the work that you're doing, you're gonna need rest, right? I remember, in exercise, as we were growing up, everybody was like, no pain, no gain. And you got to just work and work and work and work. And what they've actually started figuring out in exercise science is that when you do that, when you don't give your body time to rest, it actually reduces your gains, because the muscle in your body actually recovers when you're resting. It grows, it improves when you're resting, not when you're working out. It's the same thing, physical rest as well as emotional rest. Now, there's two types of rest. There's rest for your physical body, and that, of course, we want to look at sleep. We want to look at making sure that you have a sleep routine that helps you to make sure that you calm down, that you get your body into the right rhythm, and that you're getting enough sleep. So don't be checking your emails, don't be looking at your phone. Try to make sure that you're not watching TV right before you go to bed, all those things, so that you can make sure that your body gets the rest that it needs. And then emotional rest is actually calming the mind down, and it's mindfulness practices. So often our minds are thinking about so many different things, and we don't ever take the time that we need to just allow our minds to relax, to tell our minds that they can shut down. It's okay. You don't got to think about what you need to do tomorrow. You don't got to think about what you need to do next week. There will be time for that, but when it's rest time, that's not when it is. And there has to be a routine to your rest. There has to be a way that you begin to tell your body that it's time to rest, your mind and your body. Now, what you want to be able to do is to have a plan and a routine, because once you do that, your subconscious mind will start taking over, right? What happens is, as you begin to have a routine, your basal ganglia will start to see the trigger, and it will go on autopilot. And you want to have a plan that's built into your day, into your week, into your month, and into your year. You want to have your vacations planned so that you don't need a vacation from the vacation. You want to have something that's happening once a quarter, right, that just allows you to recharge or allows you to rejuvenate. And you want to have those planned so that you don't feel burdened and you don't feel like you're capitulating or you're just giving up. But no, it's the planned vacation. It's the planned time for you to do that work. So that's one of the big things that you want to do. So the first strategy is to make sure that you have a rest plan for both your body and your mind. The next thing is, when you're dealing with decision fatigue, that's a very different animal. Decision fatigue is based on the fact that generally most people don't have systems to deal with decisions. So every decision that you deal with is, you're having to use your entire brain, right? It's as if for every 1 pound weight that you had to pick up, you had to use your whole body to pick up that 1 pound weight, even though it's only 1 pound. And so it wouldn't feel that bad in the beginning. As you go throughout the day doing that over and over and over again, you're going to have so much more fatigue because you're not using your body efficiently to pick up that weight. And it's the same thing with decisions that we make. So often we don't have systems for how we make our decisions, and that's the thing that then taxes the entire system of our decision-making process. And so one of the things that I teach my clients to deal with this is what's called the 3 Ds. And these stand for distinguish, deliberate, and decide. And when you can use a system to make decisions, then what it allows for is it allows for 80% of the decisions that you make to just filter their way through the system. And then some of the other decisions, the big decisions that rise up, now they get to use the entire system. One of the things that President Obama used to do was that he made sure that he had blue and gray suits. Why? Because it made it easy for him to make a decision. And so he could just pick whatever the next suit was or whatever the clean suit was in his closet, instead of having to think about what he was going to wear for the day, because he knew that he was going to need his decision-making willpower for later on in the day. So the 3Ds, distinguish, deliberate, and decide. That is the system that we'll talk about later on in our Thriving Thursday, and we'll dig into for you to be able to use that. So in summary, the key takeaway for today is that you must learn how to rest physically, mentally/emotionally, and systemically. It's imperative that you learn how to rest your body so that you can actually gain the most from your energy in the day, so that you can refill and recharge your tanks. Because so often, if you're running around at half your energy, then you're just, again, pouring from an empty cup. And we've talked about this before. You want to give to others from your abundance, not from your scarcity. So remember, there's 3 types of fatigue. We got physical, we've got mental or emotional, and then we've got decision fatigue. Your body has to rest, your mind has to rest, and you have to have a routine for that. That's the second point for today. You want to have a routine for that rest. And then the third point with decision fatigue, the way that you overcome decision fatigue is by having a system for dealing with decisions. And we talked about the 3Ds: distinguish, deliberate, and decide. Tune in this Thursday for Thriving Thursdays on our Facebook channel. You can see the link in the description. Remember, we're going to dig deeper into those 3Ds so that you can really figure out how to use those in your life and make an impact in your decision making, so that you can making decisions so much easier. We're going to be able to ask questions. So make sure, remember, it's Ask Me Anything in Thriving Thursdays. So you want to tune in. Again, link is in the description. And remember, if this has been beneficial for you, please click that link that says subscribe, click that like button, and make sure that you share this to your friends, to your family, to anybody you think that can benefit from this. Our goal is to get this message of moving beyond survival and moving into your Thriver life to as many people as possible. And you can help us do that. If you feel like this is beneficial, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and also hit that bell notification so that you never miss an episode. So until next time, remember that you have greatness within you. You are here for a reason, and you have a purpose for being on this planet. So remember to live every day in alignment with your purpose. Here's to you manifesting your greatness. Thanks again for joining us on another edition of Thrive Nation.